insurance is a huge industry, like $2 trillion only in the US. The Insurtech portion out of it is less than 1%. So that's basically, I think, that the category of the definition of a space that is ripe for innovation.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Lomitech, and sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and Birthright Excel. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Let's talk about mobility insurance. Meet Tomer Kashi, the co-founder and CEO of Voom Insurance, an insurtech company for next-generation mobility insurance products. Previously, Tomer spearheaded interdisciplinary technology projects from within the Prime Minister's office in Israel, including a project that has received the Israel Defense Prize. Tomer is a Talpiot graduate and has a BSc in computer science and physics from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and an MBA from Tel Aviv University. Tomer is based in Tel Aviv and is a proud father of 2 little daughters. Tomer Kashi, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It wasn't easy to schedule, but I'm really, really glad that we have this opportunity.
Well, I know how incredibly busy you are because what you're doing with Voom Insurance is just growing like crazy. And I'm here in your beautiful offices. I wish you could see everything that I'm seeing around here. It's a beautiful space. And thank you for hosting me. And I'm really excited to get to know both you better, but also the insurtech space in general and where Voom is situated within that. We don't have a lot of time, so let's cut straight to the chase. Tomer, who are you in a few words, and what leads you to have a strong conviction in the insurtech space?
Great. So a little bit about myself. I'm Tomer, the co-founder and CEO of Voom. I'm a computer scientist and physicist in background that somehow became an insurance nerd. So I started my career in Talpiot as a computer scientist, did my service in the Israeli Prime Minister's office, first as a programmer, then as a project lead. I led several interdisciplinary projects, so a lot of researchers, developers, product people, a lot of work with other organizations around the world. And what I liked about what I did in the Prime Minister's office is how interdisciplinary the problems were. And this is also what I find interesting in insurtech, because the technology is very important, but also to understand the customers, to understand the other stakeholders such as reinsurers, to understand the IT, to understand so many things that need to be a part of the equation for a product to succeed. In Talpiot, I also met with my co-founder and CTO with Ori. Ori, after Talpiot, he went to Duvdevan. He used to say that, he did Talpiot for his mother and Duvdevan for his father.
Amazing.
And after around a decade for the defense forces, we co-founded Voom together.
Wow.
We dare to call ourselves friends.
Amazing. Now,
what? Still now.
so before we dive into Voom, insurtech in essence, because insurance is one of the oldest industries ever to exist. This idea that you are going to give somebody the option to feel secure about their assets, and if something happens, then you will get them new assets. What is insurtech in the 21st century?
So insurance is a huge industry, like $2 trillion only in the US. The insurtech portion out of it is less than 1%. So that's basically, I think, that the category of the definition of a space that is ripe for innovation.
Less than 1% of the insurance market in the US.
That's correct.
Unbelievable.
We already saw some innovation in car insurance, in home insurance, in small business insurance. I believe that the first wave of innovation is basically disrupting the way that insurance customers are buying insurance by better delivery, better IT. And the next wave, what we're entering now, is what I call InsurTech 2.0. And that's basically disrupting the insurance product itself. So coming with different risk models, different, things like pay as you go, pay how you drive, things that are fundamentally different in the insurance product itself. So not only disrupting the way that customers are interacting with their insurance companies, but also disrupting the risk. And I think that today, in several categories, mobility specifically, because things are increasingly connected, there is an opportunity to do so. And, I'll dive into what Voom does, and maybe it will give some more context.
I'm ready.
So, in essence, Voom is an insurtech company that distributes insurance products for the mobility space.
Mm-hmm.
So you can think about us like, Lemonade, Next, Hippo, just for the mobility world. But especially we focus on unique products or unique vehicles that are actually like overlooked and neglected by other insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
And hence, when we're coming with our data-driven, usage-based insurance product, there is a big wow effect in the eyes of the customer, because these customers of these, unique vehicles were completely neglected by insurance companies. And once we come up with our solution, it's it's like an oh my god, how didn't it happen before? And then I wanna be a part of it.
Very, very cool.
So if you think about the mobility industry in a high level,
mm-hmm.
I think you can see three major shifts. One is new platforms, things like drones and e-scooters and many other, mobility platforms that now exist in order to take people from one place to another, or take things from one place to another. Two, you have increased connectivity. So the vehicles are becoming increasingly connected. It allows you to use much better data that insurers, by the way, in most cases are blind to, in order to assess the risks. It also allows you to do what's called embedded insurance, to offer the insurance at the point of sale, or even from the dashboard of your car.
So dive into it. Let's talk specifics with you're talking about the data-driven approach, and one of the things that I think are so miraculous about what's happening with InsurTech, and I've seen this from my end with Hippo, this idea that through new means of data analytics, we're able to assess risk in a much better way. We have much more transparency into how we form a win-win relationship with the customer. How do you, as Voom, then use this to your advantage to be able to take these unique vehicles and reassess the risk with them?
So I think that's a really, really good question, because it doesn't end with the data. So accessing the data is one thing,
mm-hmm.
but being able to use the data
mm-hmm.
is also a very important portion.
Okay.
So the mobility industry as a whole is moving very fast, much faster than insurance.
Okay.
From an insurance company perspective, innovation is always hard, but product innovation is the toughest of problems. Because it's very interdisciplinary. You need to work with the actuaries, with the risk people, in order to come up with a risk model. But then let's assume you have like a safety score for the behavior in cars or whatnot. Then you need to somehow fit it into the IT systems from the 80s that the insurance companies have, and they have hysterical technical debt. So they have nothing to do with it, and it takes them so much time to really create something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't end there. When you have the insurance product, you also need to distribute it. So the insurance companies in many cases are geared towards brokers. And, the more innovative ones are, doing some direct distribution. But to really do an omni-channel distribution at scale, including embedded insurance, selling at point of sale, working with other partners, this is something that is very, very challenging. So in order to solve that, it's very hard to solve a specific problem for the insurance company. It's actually better to create an insurance company yourself that will be end-to-end and will be in charge of all of the aspects.
Right.
Okay. So internally at Voom, and it wasn't an easy task, we really needed to build from scratch everything that a modern insurance company should do. The risk analytics engine, the policy admin system, the payments, claims, policy creation, reporting, and the distribution, tech.
Right.
And now, getting back to your question, there are new sources of data, but it's not only tapping into that. It's always also the ability to get the data and create something meaningful with it.
Right.
And to create a new insurance product with it and to deliver to the customers in a way that they understand it. And again, it's an extremely interdisciplinary problem. You need all of the stars to be aligned in order to create a useful product.
Now, from the customer's perspective, tell me a little bit about how customers have been, reacting to the Insurtech market, but also from the perspective of Voom. You mentioned usage-based before, which I think is a really interesting concept that I'd love to understand a little bit better through your use case. Mm-hmm. So how do customers think through Insurtech and specifically usage-based payment systems?
Yeah, okay, so maybe we can dive into one case study of the first product that we've created. So our first product was for the commercial drone space. Okay? And I think that it's a very, very good example of a new vehicle type that was completely neglected by traditional insurance companies.
Right.
So the same people that insure, jet planes and satellites are the people that were in charge of insuring drones. Although it's a completely different distribution channel, completely different type of customers,
right,
and so on and so on. And the questions that they asked are things like, what's your engine? How many, engine hours do you have? And things that are completely irrelevant for, basically a flying cell phone.
Right. Yeah. That's great.
And what we did is, looking at this opportunity and saying, okay, that's something that, no insurance companies will really, they invest 3 to 5 years in order to create something meaningful for.
Right.
So we started with a usage-based insurance product for this market. So we targeted to begin with the gig economy, commercial drone operators that needed this, drone thing just for a specific job. Think about wedding photographers, engineers, and many others that basically need to show the certificate of insurance to their customers to prove that they're insured.
Right.
So they have a cute mobile app that they could choose the flight area that they want to fly in. They got a real-time pricing based on the hazards in their area. So people flying over roads, in no-fly zones, and so on and so on. And they could, get insurance in a matter of 3 clicks instead of, filling in paperwork and waiting for, 2 to 3 days.
Now, what did you learn from distributing this and watching the reaction of the drone operators?
So I think, today from this mobile app, today we're the leading commercial drone insurance provider in North America, in all 50 US states and in Canada. One thing that we learned is that it's very important to expand your product along the way. So we now have like a monthly and annual products, and we serve fleets, and we provide insurance for drone light shows and for flying taxis and for many other use cases. The other thing that we learned from this drone use case is that it doesn't stop there. There are many other overlooked segments. Basically, in my mind, everything besides personal auto. So like personal auto is like almost the definition of a red ocean. All of the insurance companies are trying to create like an innovative product there, or direct products. So you have Progressive and Geico and many other companies.
Right.
And they are investing more and more money in this segment.
Yeah.
But all other segments, while they're investing marketing money in the other segments, the products themselves are, pretty old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Okay, so rigid annual policies, no usage-based insurance, and you could think of other markets that no one has tapped into that I think are interesting. Let's take motorcycles, for example. So in motorcycles, just like in cars and even more than cars, mileage is a very, very important risk factor. Mm-hmm. It's almost trivial that the more you ride, the riskier the riskier you are,
right,
for the insurance company. And yet, no insurance company in the world have created a pay-per-mile motorcycle insurance product. Okay, and the reasoning for that is not that it's not a good idea. The problem is that in the eyes of an insurance company, it makes more sense to put, $100 million more in a marketing budget just to try to push the same product rather than shifting the entire company to create something that is meaningfully different and better for the customer. Because it's extremely interdisciplinary. You need, the actuaries and the IT and the marketing and the compliance. And it's a, project of 3 to 5 years
And
for the insurance company. And the technology, especially the technology.
Right.
Because of the IT because, it's like everything is, spaghetti code that is really, really hard to change. And hence, you could think about categories that for insurance companies are relatively small, but for startups, these are, multi-billion dollars markets that are, again, ripe for innovation. No one is there. And you really have a wow effect in the eyes of the customer because it's something really different. It's not that, it's easier to purchase the policy and the color of the logo is different and it has a fresh look and feel, which are all extremely important. It's also the product itself is different. Is that for a significant segment of the customer base, you don't really need to pay for the others. You pay only for what you use and you have cheaper rates in many cases.
Amazing. Now, what did you learn over your time in Voom so far that perhaps somebody from the outside, it won't be trivial for them in regards to the insurtech space, whether it's from the consumer behavior standpoint, from investors' standpoint, from our other interesting players?
I think that, insurance in general, you can basically refine the entire product into 2 specific moments, and everything else is almost irrelevant. One is how easy it is to purchase the product, and 2, how easy it is to get the claim, to get money if you have a claim. Okay, so if you master these 2 pivotal moments, then everything else is easy. And I think that the good insurtech companies that have refined these 2 moments also see it in the net promoter score. Okay, so the average net promoter score in insurance is in the 20s.
Wow.
And when you see companies like Voom and like a few other insurtechs who have a net promoter score of over 70. Okay, so it's at par with Amazon and Apple.
Wow.
So that's extremely important.
Wow.
Another thing that I think is relevant for insurtech, but relevant for startups in general, is and everybody says that, but it's very important. It's very true. Culture is strategy for breakfast. So I think that the people that are a part of the company and the culture and the way that they think. And we have a saying in the company, saying it's never not my problem. I think everybody thinks not only about their job domain, but also about, the other adjacent things that other people are doing. Okay. So the product is very involved in the R&D and the marketing. The marketing is very involved in the design and the product. And that's very, very important and crucial. And this is exactly the secret sauce that a small focused insurtech has,
right?
And many other, existing players that with huge budgets do not have.
Now, so if we look 2-3 years down the line with a vision, where is the company like Voom? Where is it headed, or where is the insurtech space headed in general?
So we believe that the mobility industry is just shifting tremendously. Okay, and the amount of new products, new opportunities for insurtech in the new mobility space is much more than $100 billion in premiums just in the US.
Wow.
And that's the category we live in. We're going to, and we're already creating a suite of products for the new mobility, emerging mobility world, just like we did in drones. And we have several products now in the pipeline that we're going to launch some of them this year, some of them the next year. And that's how we see the future.
I love it. Well, Toma, toda rabba. Thank you for letting me and hosting me in this beautiful office and sharing your insights with me about the Insurtech space and specifically Voom. I have a few more questions about you, not about Voom or Insurtech, and I want to take you back really quick to your childhood. What as you're going about your life, what really interests you? What was maybe a hobby or a specific lesson at school?
So, as a kid, like I had good grades, but I wasn't really a good student.
Interesting.
I was, one of those people that are skipping most of classes.
Interesting.
I was very, very fortunate to be in a gifted class. So from the 3rd grade to the 12th grade, I actually studied with the same people. It's like a group of 20 people that some of them are friends of mine until today.
Wow.
A few of them are, also founders of startups. So it's a great network from the 3rd grade.
Wow.
A very important one. And, what fascinated me is just, being with friends.
Yeah.
Much more important, the trivial answer would be to say, I was fascinated about math, computer science, physics. Not true. I was just...
It's about friends.
Yeah.
I love it. And what inspires you today as you go about your daily life?
So I think that actually something that inspires me today is not a part of the Insurtech or entrepreneurship world. I think that the most inspiring event that happened in the last year is the vaccination to COVID. I think it's what, Pfizer and Moderna and others have done is, truly not only the, life-saving event, but also, world-saving event. So because like the entire ecosystem has changed because of the vaccination.
I love it. And what are 3 words you would use to describe yourself?
Wow. Okay. So that's a good question. I would start with curious. I think that I'm really, really curious about things in life. That's also what, made me getting into Insurtech. Just an industry that I knew nothing about. And This is why I liked so much to get into.
Amazing.
Also, every time that I'm meeting with a new founder, I'm asking about their business because I have a keen interest in what they do. And I think this is something that leads me a lot. The second thing is, I would say hard work. Today, it's like, common to talk about, work-life balance. It's common to talk about, you need to work smart and not hard. I think that work-life balance is important. I think that it's much more important to work smart than to work hard. But it's also very important to work hard. And just, be very aggressive and very ambitious about what you do, because if you don't move fast enough, specifically in the startup world, someone will eat your lunch.
Especially today.
And the third one, that is actually like the opposite of the second one, is a family man. So I have a wonderful wife, also a career woman, and 2 amazing daughters. And I really think that you can combine hard work with being a family person. And it's not one thing or the other. Usually it comes on the expense of your sleep, but you can combine these 2.
I love it. Tomer, toda rabba. This was amazing. Best of luck with Voom, and thank you for sharing the time with me.
Thank you very much.